Kia ora, kia orana. My name's Jade, and if you're new here, if this is the first time you're hearing or seeing me, then I'll do a brief intro before we jump into the topic, which is me sharing why I'm no longer um, offering human design readings. So I am a self-esteem and sovereignty specialist, and I coach sisters to stand in her mana, her authentic power. And there's a difference between power and authentic power, but we'll cover that in another video at another time. So, as I mentioned, this video is about me sharing why I'm no longer offering human design readings, which I have been doing for the last very long time, 6 years or so. I've been a coach, a human behavior coach, understanding the why we do what we do and helping people get to the core, the root cause, the core of their chaos, their kaka, their challenges, and helping them reframe to create pathways and solutions forward to where they want to go. So I've been doing that work for 10 years, and a little further down the track, I learned about human design and subsequently gene keys, and I am a what you call it, a certified gene keys guide, and I have been experimenting with human design for 7 years, and sharing it with all my clients, and been sharing it with people from all over the world for the last 6-7 years. All right, so that's where I am to date, and now here I am saying I'm no longer offering human design readings. And that is because for the longest time, a human design reading was an entry point of connection between me and the world. So I was offering readings and offering people to come in and receive a reading from me. And now I'm not. And I'm going to explain in this video all the reasons why. I'm going to take you on a journey that I've been through to understand why this is no longer correct. And when I say it's no longer correct, I just don't have the energy to do it. So I'm not going to. Now, because I've been doing these for so long, right, I have a lot of data. I have a lot of data that I've collected around, what happens after readings, etc. And most significantly, last year, I went back full time in business. I have I've always been in sales, and specifically in the last 8 or so years in tech sales. And so I was looking at the data over the last year, and what that suggested was that a lot of people were getting excited and coming to connect with me and wanting to have a reading, but not a lot of people were doing much else after that that I know of, because I didn't really hear from them again. Okay, and as I said, I've been coaching for 10 years, and my currency, what I am very good at, is connection, building genuine connections. So I was like, it can't be that I stink that much at what I'm doing, right? As to why people are not coming back, or or even just replying to emails about after their session. It can't be that. So I started digging into why, because I knew I was good at what I do. I know that my absolute non-negotiable is to build genuine connection. So I wanted to get to the bottom of it. What I found was that that these readings, okay, or human design, the system in general, is very shiny. Okay, and this is where I started. This is the point where I, when I was digging through all of this, this is where I had to get honest. And it wasn't just about how other people receiving the readings were maybe feeling or thinking. I also had to get honest with how this was also about me. Okay, so human design has been becoming very sought after, very shiny. And even if you just type in human design on Instagram or TikTok, there's so many people that pop up with their videos of what human design is about. A lot of social media teachers, right? And And then there's some real OG gangster ones that, not comparing, but just the ones who study source material, have been consistent, and who really just like are dedicated to the system. Okay. And yeah, there's a few that I have in mind that I learned from, like the ones that I've resonated to. Um, so there's just lots of information out there about the system. And now more recently with, the use of carousels and reels and things like that on social media, there's a lot of quick fire content. And what I've been noticing is, like, if you want to get X, look at these gates. If you want to unlock this, look at these gates. And it's just like instantly gratifying. It's becoming more and more shiny. So if you haven't, I'll explain it. But if you have heard of the shiny object syndrome, SOS, right? This is a behavioral pattern of repeatedly abandoning a task, a project, a goal, because just pretty much getting distracted by something that's shiny. And human design was giving shiny, right? Shiny object syndrome, because people were getting like distracted by it, or coming after it because of how promising and how shiny it has become. And so, yeah, I had to be honest about that. And the phrase that actually dropped into my body was that, human design is sort of like my ex. It validated me once, and then I gave it my all. And yeah, just like my ex, we had to make some adjustments. So that's me, what I'm doing. I'm making some adjustments now, because what I've found is that, you know, people are coming for the session because it's shiny, because, it's enticing. There's so many people teaching it. Um, yeah, it's like, oh, if I know this about my chart, then I can, and shiny. It's and it's really not like that. Human design is a very deep and sacred system. And that's how I see it. So I don't see it as something shiny. I see it as a journey that does take 6 to 7 years to like really go through, to decondition, right? Not these, if you want more money, look at these money gates. And then that's you, unlocked forever. No, rubbish. The whole point of it is following the guide, following the wisdom, the ancient wisdom, the authentic wisdom from within our body. And that takes some peeling back. And that's the part I understand as a human behavior coach, is like, we got to peel this shit back. There's some layers here we got to peel back. There's a journey we got to go on. But no, because like the shiny stuff out online is like, no, you just look up these gates. You just pay me, $47 for this thing. And then you can get the gates that show you how you're going to make all the money. And then people are like, oh, all right. So because it was shiny, I wanted to take it out of my shop window, so to speak. And, if people are paying me for a human design reading, I kind of have to give them a human design reading and tell them all the things. But when I tell them all the things, it's deeper than what, the shiny thing might have suggested it is going to be. So I'm pretty much giving people a headache or a hangover, okay? Because it's deeper than what they thought. Either which way, this might be some people's experience, or some people might have been like, I fucking loved it, But for the most part, which I have verified through talking to people who I have done readings for, that there's a lot to process. Either which way, if it seemed easy enough or shiny, and then you come in and it's quite deep and dense, right? And like there's a journey to go on, then it's not what you thought. So just to avoid all this confusion, what I'm doing is I'm going back to basics. I'm going back to basics as a coach, and to do what I know, what I have proven absolutely works. The reason why I shared human design was because it was a way for people to take a blueprint of their energetic blueprint, to make that journey easier or more visible for them to go on, to simplify their journey. But what if I be honest, for majority of the people that I've given readings to and not really hearing back from them, it suggests that it's not making it easier, right? Um, to go on that journey. But nevertheless, it's the journey we have to go on. Okay. So I'm going back to basics by removing the human design reading aspect and instead going back to doing strategy sessions, because these strategy sessions, when you first connect with somebody or first meet with somebody who is drawn to, my character and my story and what I teach, if the entry point of connection is a strategy session, then it actually allows me to do the work that I'm here to do. A lot of the readings was talking to people and most likely filling their head with more information, which is kind of the opposite of what human design is actually for. It's supposed to be about deconditioning, not addition of information to the brain. It's coming into the body, not sitting in a session and getting your brain pumped full of more information. So in these strategy sessions, 10 years tried and true of knowing that we are working with balancing the mental, the emotional, and the physical, and closing the gap on resistance to create pathways that this person can actually go and implement. So in these strategy sessions, I will still pull somebody's human design chart and have an understanding of their human design and gene keys chart, because for me, when I look at a chart, I can go boom boom and I know what I'm looking at because I've been studying it, experimenting with the system for 7 years. But it doesn't mean I need to talk to you for an hour about that. I can just have it in the back of my head so that when we are going through the strategy session, that I have that knowledge in the back of my head and I can weave it in appropriately, but I'm not guaranteeing that I'm going to sit there and tell you everything about what I see in your chart. So I'm shifting the promise, essentially, about how I share this knowledge. Okay? So the other ways that I'll share it is, again, in the remix, the program that I run for sisters to help them be supported in business, I will weave the knowledge about their human design charts, gene key charts, into our sessions or into the class teachings as as I see appropriate. But it removes me removing human design readings from the shop front as an offering. It just simplifies everything. It's like we'll use it when we need it, and we won't use it and become too reliant on needing to know all the things when we don't need it. Sometimes you just need to get your ass into action. Okay? Sometimes, you know what I mean? We just need to do XYZ. So that's why I'm not offering human design readings anymore. After 7 years, and that really is the seat and the basis of who I am. There's a part in gate number 10, gene key number 10 as well. It's like there comes a point where we just stop seeking or needing all of the stuff. And in a way, I am asking people to be less blinded by the shine. Okay? So it's like, yeah, it's not that I'm withholding it for personal reasons. It's I'm withholding it because we don't need to know everything we think we need to know in 1 hour. If all you want to do is do one strategy session and I weave in some of your human design, well, that some is all you were meant to know. But giving you all the human design and none of the setting up your neurological pathways and setting up your nervous system to be able to take on that journey, like giving you all of this, what you could be, or your energetic blueprint, is just, as I said, it's just going to give you a hangover. It's going to give you a head fuck, and then it's going to give you a hangover. And then you're going to have to go away and process, or you'll just chuck it in the, oh, that was way too hard. That was way too hearty basket, and then never come back. And for me, that's a waste of your curiosity. It is a waste of your curiosity and openness to wanting to like lean into this work and this side of living, which is to be in our inner world. When someone comes knocking on my door, I know that they have done their homework. I know that they're being drawn to something deeper. So when they come knocking, and for them to just leave with a head fuck and a hangover and having to go and process all of this stuff, that's a waste of your curiosity. And I mean that not for me, I mean it for you, because you were willing to step through that door. There was part of your soul that was nudging you to go through that door, and you went through the door only to leave with a headache, and then you're like, oh yeah, fuck that. That was a bit much. So, no longer offering human design readings. Instead, if you want to jam with me, the entry point, or the first point of contact would be to have a strategy session. I have one of these next week. I'm so stoked. I'm looking forward to shifting how I work. So in these strategy sessions, I put, as I said, you fill out a form, you book it in, you pay. I've made them very accessible. Okay, so you book in, you pay, you fill out a form, and in this form are your human design and gene key details. I will pull your charts, and I will have that knowledge in the back of my head. And when we meet together, we're going to be focusing on getting clear on where you are now and where you're trying to go. And then together we will weave and create pathways to get to where you're trying to go while acknowledging where you have been. Okay. And this kind of strategy session, this opens up doors. So, full transparency, what happens after that strategy session, is up to you. But what I know for sure is that you will have made a fully informed decision. You were fully in your body, you were fully held, and you have got the clarity to decide where you're going to go next. So anyways, I'm going to leave it there. And if you have any questions about these strategy sessions, please reach out to me. I'm keen, love to have one. These are powerful sessions. Like, they create clarity. I've been doing them for 10 years. They help you get clear, right? Yeah, that's all. Okay, let's leave it there. Kia ora.